All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another day of Veda, which is vlog every day in April or vlog every day in August. I think that's how I originally started off, but right now it's vlog every day in April. And for me, this is day 3. So I didn't start off right away on April 1st, so that's why my days might not match the dates, but I figured why not jump in right now. So the whole purpose of vlog every day in April or Veda is to have a post every day. Now that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to record every day, so I believe, but it does mean to have something posted every day, and so that's the challenge. And if you're doing video, then you know the big challenge is making sure you have something every day and trying to get through this footage. So I felt like I said that the couple first videos that I had, so I'm gonna stop saying that. But one of the things that you have to do is constantly come up with topics, and there's websites that you can use to give you prompts, but I've just been kind of thinking of topics that I could talk about myself personally. And one of the ones I decided to do was book reviews, because I've been reading a lot of books lately, and I wanted to start off with a book. Actually, the first one that I wanted to do was a book that I felt that really kind of just changed the game for me and where I'm at in my life personally. So that is Robert Kyosacki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I know this book might be like a little cliched or a little like, it seems like a lot of people refer to it, especially when they're in the financial space or even, I guess, the personal development space. But this book right here, for me personally, was really a big game changer. And I kind of wrote down some notes here to talk about this book, and there's some points I want to reference on it, because I can ramble on and on. And if you talk to my wife, she can tell you I can go on tangents. So I'm gonna try to keep it brief and just kind of let you know about this book here and why I recommend you picking it up. I recommend this book to any and everybody, so because it was so big in my own personal life. So I guess the way I kind of found this book right here was, there was one day, how you have those days, right, where you're kind of like looking at your life from, a bird's eye view, right? You're looking at it from, the outside looking in, right? And, I was just kind of looking at my life, and it was just coming off of a crazy summer, right? I had just gotten married in the fall to my beautiful wife. We were living together. I had just got a brand new job. And I was just kind of looking at everything and where I was right then and there. And although there were so many things that were, they were going great, how you just kind of have like that feeling like of, something is like missing or off or whatever the case may be. And, I just kind of had that feeling. And I remember I was looking at my finances one day. How sometimes you get like serious and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna look at my bills and like I'm gonna get this shit figured out. And forgive my language, but I cuss a lot actually when I talk, but I've been trying to like clean it up. But I just wanted to get it all figured out, right? And I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at like my debt. I'm looking at my savings. I'm looking at retirements, and I'm just thinking to myself like, I really don't know shit about finances, right? Like, and I just had like this unsettling feeling. And I guess what really kind of drove me to the point was that, a couple months leading up to this moment, I had lost my job. And I was teaching at a high school, and it was just like, I had just had like this perfect setup, and like I lost it, and it was just like completely devastating. You know what I mean? And it just, how you get that feeling of like having everything that you want, and then it gets stripped away, and you feel like you had no control. And it's like, I got fired, let go, laid off, whatever you want to call it, budget cuts. It doesn't matter. What matters is that, that thing that I held so dearly had just got taken away from me. And I was like devastated, man. And it really kind of like, I guess it was like plaguing me, man. It was like a, black cloud hanging over. And even though I had got this new job and all these other, great and wonderful things were happening in my life, it's, how you just have that feeling, right? So I was looking at everything, and I said to myself, you know what, like, I'm thinking about just life, and I want to be a great husband. Now I'm a husband, right? I'm married. So I was like, man, I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great, provider. I want to create these amazing experiences for my wife, for our future family. I want to be able to travel. Not that long ago, me and my wife, we had took a trip over to Spain, and it was just one of the most amazing, experiences in my life. I had never been out of the country up until this point, but, I just wanted to do these things and provide these opportunities. I want to be able to have like a little second beach home or something like that, right? I mean, like, why not, right? Like, come on. So either way, this is like kind of the point that I was at in my life. And what I realized is that, like, if I wanted to create these experiences, I really didn't have the knowledge. I just wasn't financially literate when I was like looking at, everything, not everything like going on in my life. Like, my life was fine. I had, a good place to live. I had a good job. I got a car, pension and 401k and benefits and all this other stuff. But, that wanting more part, like, and I just realized that, like, I just wasn't financially literate, so I wanted to get financially literate and learn the money game, like, and it's like, I know the basic money game like everybody else, right? It's like you save, you live below your means, you put away for retirement and, all that other good stuff. And, but, I just wanted more, man. You know how that is. You just want to live more in life. You just want to have more experiences. And I realized that, like, not being financially literate, I was basically holding myself back. So, what drove me to picking up this book here was because many moons ago, I had went to some meeting, and some guy was trying to like recruit me for this business, but it turned out that it was like a pyramid scheme, right? Whatever. But as a parting gift, they had gave you this audio CD. So we are talking about many moons ago because, like, people don't listen to CDs, but the CD had a clip of the beginning of this book here, the intro to this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, maybe like the first couple of pages. And I remember Rich Dad, Poor Dad back in the day, like, he used to come on the radio, it'd be like, coming to town, blah, 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 whatever, and so I kind of remembered. But when I heard the beginning of that book, one of the things that he said was, in life, if you're not minding your business, you're minding somebody else's business. And I remember that, like, really stuck with me because at this time I kind of had like my little part-time business. This was like years ago. So I was kind of like in transition, I was like freelancing. I had my own little thing going on, and I was like always kind of debating whether I should try to take this as a full-time business. But, fast forward, right? Don't let me get caught off, going off here. But yeah, so I picked up this book because, I thought to myself, I want to become financially literate. And this book right here, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. And one of the things that, it taught me is that, like, you have to know about money. So once I read this book, it was like, man, I got like, super excited. And actually, let me just read a quick part out of this book for you. And it's just like a quick little line that I'm going to put here. But it says, failure inspires winners, and failure defeats losers. It's its biggest secret of winners. It's the secret that losers don't know. The greatest secret of winners is that failure inspires winning. Thus, they're not afraid of losing. And it says here that there's a big difference between hating to lose and being afraid to lose. Most people are so afraid of losing money that they lose. They go broke over a duplex. Financially, they play life too safe and too small. They buy big houses and big cars, but not big investments. The main reason that over 90% of American public struggles financially is because they play not to lose. They don't play to win. You know what I mean? So it says here that they play not to lose and they're not playing to win, right? And I looked at my own life, and it was like, I was at this point where, it was like, yeah, I guess you could say like I'm winning, but I didn't really feel like I was winning because I felt like I wasn't playing to win, you know what I mean? And I used to coach track, and, it's just like the same thing. Like we used to tell, my runners, right? Like, say if they got into the lead. You know, it was like, you got to keep that momentum, you know, because the minute that you play not to lose, right? You're just trying to stay ahead, not to lose. You're not really trying to exceed and win. You know, that's the minute that you actually start losing. And, you know, if somebody's coming up with momentum, it's going to be hard to fight them off, because once you let your momentum go, it's hard to get it back. And, you know, I guess I kind of felt like that. Like, I was like that point in my life. Like, you know, I was going, but was I really playing to win? And, you know, not learning about this stuff, you know, I was sabotaging myself. So, I mean, once I read this book, right, it's like I you know, like my mind state completely changed, and I started like geeking out about this stuff. And it was like learning about, you know, starting businesses, learning about, you know, tax codes. And, you know, it doesn't break all of that stuff down in here, but it gets your mind onto that next level. And, you know, the crazy part about it is that once I read this book and I like started like geeking out on this stuff, right, like, you know, I'm talking about it to people around me, and a lot of times the people around me were just like, they don't get it. You know, they were just like looking at me like I was just like money hungry, and, you know, all I cared about was, you know, money. And that really wasn't the case. You know, what I cared about was trying to provide these experiences for my family, you know, for myself, you know, and money is just a tool to get there. And it's like, you realize how much people don't actually really study money. You know what I mean? I mean, I never studied it my whole life. You know, I knew how to make it. You know, I know how I spend it for sure. You know, I know how I save it. You know, I ain't the best at that, but I mean, like, those are the basics. But I never really learned like the money game. And, you know, the tough part was finding people who are willing to, you know, to talk to you about it, to, you know, and teach you about it. And unfortunately, that's not always the people that's closest to you. It's not your friends or your family, because, you know, if they don't know the money game, they don't know it just as much as you, right? But everybody thinks that they know it. And so, yeah, that was like, you know, a tough point that I ran into after kind of like reading this book. But, you know, but what ended up happening is that, like, all in all, like, this book was like really good. It made me really interested about becoming financially literate. It made me interested in going out and finding mentors, whether that be in person or, you know, I just started reading more books, man, you know, just like turning into this like lifelong learner, right? You know, YouTube videos, you know, just trying to get myself educated. But then I learned it was more about, you know, just educating myself. It was about, you know, really becoming a better person, right? And it's not the money alone that's going to give, you know, my you know, that's going to allow me to give my family or my wife these great experiences. What it is it turns out that it's like, it really set me off into this whole other path too of personal development, where I had to learn that, you know, I had to become a better person all in all. You know, I had to become more conscious and more present. And I actually did, of how I was just living my life in general. You know, I just became more conscious and, I guess, quote unquote, playing to win. And I don't know if that means just like being active, that means being conscious, that means being present. You know, it's not so much about playing to win to like win all this money. It's about playing to have the best experience in life, you know. And, you know, I'm not the best at it, right? Like, I still fall short, you know, at times. You know, I'm not, you know, the perfect husband, or I'm not, you know, the perfect role model, or, you know, I'm not the, you know, the absolute best at what I do. But, you know, I constantly try to improve, you know, each and every single day. And that's really what this book did for me, man. Like, it really set me off onto that path. So that's why I wanted to, you know, mention this book, because it really was a game changer for me. And I know a lot of people talk about it, and I can understand, you know, why they feel that way, because it really, you know, it's really more, it's about more than the money, man. It's about, you know, just becoming a better person in life and in general. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I read a lot of books, and not all of them, you know, give you that feeling, but, you know, there's certain ones that do. And I want to share those, you know, with you guys, because maybe you'll find it valuable too. So, yeah, so that's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And, you know, that's what it is. That's what it made me do. It made me take the leap, you know, to actually quit my job, to actually start my business, and to actually go for it. You know what I mean? To play to win. But, you know, as a side result, you know, what happened is I actually really started transforming myself on, you know, who's the person that I have to become in order to really, you know, give these great experiences to the people around me. And it's not just about money. It's about so many more things, you know. So staying conscious, staying present, and just trying to, you know, constantly improve and get better. And Rich Dad Poor Dad is an awesome book. You know, I would say check it out. You can find it anywhere. You know how to find stuff. So yeah, so that's my Veda day 3. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. I will be coming back with some more videos. I'm thinking I'm going to do maybe some more. I'm going to do some more book reviews, but I'm also going to do, you know, some other stuff so you can see like what I'm doing in my business. Maybe some tutorials or how-tos. I don't know. But yeah, once again, thanks for joining me. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'm out. Peace.